All right, today I'm going to do attempt to do a replacement of the heater core and AC evaporator in this Dodge Ram. It's a 2009. Got to pull out the dash, and then it just pulls out a little bit, and then you slide out the air box in it. So should be interesting. Got to pull off all the trim, pull off the trim on the sides here, some bolts. That trim on the back comes off, it's a couple bolts, and then the thing lifts out and pulls out. I think first off, I just need to remove these guys here, pull both sides, and that'll allow me to get into the side part here. Maybe just pull on it. Yeah, so that just pulls up and out. And didn't break anything. It's got these little clips on it, so it pulls out pretty easily, and that gives me access to all this stuff, right? So before I go any further, because I'm getting into electrical and it's with the dash, you've got a deadly airbag behind here and over there. You don't want to mess with anything and have that thing explode in your face. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the negative lead on the battery. Again, I don't want to mess up this beautiful face of mine. And yeah, so anytime you work on anything near the dash, just disconnect the battery, let it sit for I think 20 minutes, 30 minutes, so the capacitors drain, and maybe you're good. I don't know. That's what I've read anyway. Don't go on my word. I don't want the airbags exploding on you, but that's what I'm going to try. So let's go ahead and do that first. I just went ahead and removed the negative, the positive. Just remove both of them just to make sure. So this is the passenger side. So I've got all these like little connectors in here. Looks like some of them have already been disconnected, pulled out, or fallen out, and then like these guys here need to be pulled out, and then just disconnected. So I got what, 1, 2, 3, 4 that I see. And then we have a bolt here. This is going to be one of the bolts that I need to remove to pull the dash up and out. So let me get started on that. So I got all these other ones disconnected. Let me get this blower motor, but that should be all I need. That should be all I need to worry about for the passenger side. And so, as I said, there's this bolt here that I'm going to get that will allow me to pull this up and out the dash. So hopefully that's all we need for those connectors. We'll go over to the driver's side and see what we got over there. So I'm on the passenger side here. I'm gonna go ahead and just remove this cover here on the side, and that just pops right out. It's got clips. Just get under there and pull that out, and then we can see a little bit more in here. This is the dash frame, and we've got bolts right in here that we're going to be pulling to get this whole thing. And you can see where it kind of sits down in here. It looks like I have to unbolt these 3 bolts maybe, and then pull this up and out. So we'll see how that goes when the time comes. But this will just give you access to all that stuff. So got that. All right, so let's see. The driver's side looks similar. Just go ahead and get a little pry bar up under there and pry that thing right off. That thing just comes off again. You have got little snaps there. And so we've got some more little wires over on this side. So I'm just going to pull these off of here and disconnect it here. Looks like, yeah, looks like I just want to get this disconnected and get all these connectors out of there. On this side, you got the 3 bolts that bolts the dash frame onto the chassis. Doesn't look like there's anything underneath like on the other side, and so we'll go ahead and pull these guys now. Pulling these clips out is always like the trickiest part, so I figured I'd get the trusty old pry bar out and help me pull these things out. I'm probably going to break half of them still, but I'd probably break 75% of them if I didn't do it this way. So yeah. This thing's kind of too big for the job anyway, so it might not really work out, but at least I tried. Let's see. Got that anyway. These are stupid things. I don't want to crimp these cables. I'd rather just cut these off than crimp the cables. Here we go. You see, it's just like, these things are meant for like one-time use, I think, but I'll be able to stick them back in. And then this thing, just after you pull that out, should just be able to push that tab down and yep, disconnect. So it looks like I only have one wire, maybe? For this bottom panel, it looks like I've got 2 screws, and then I think it unsnaps. Make sure you have the key out, because the key is part of that panel, the keyhole. And so I'm gonna go ahead and pull these 2 screws and then see if I can pull this panel off. All right, so that pulls off. And then you have the latch for the hood release. I'm just gonna leave that on there. And then this ODBC thing. I think if I take this ODBC thing off, it might lay a little flatter because the latch goes back there. This is kind of hanging up. So I'm gonna see if I can pull that out somehow, if it's easy enough to do without breaking things. Let me see, it looks like I just pushed these little guys in, maybe. I don't know, let me see. Maybe get 2 hands on that. There we go, yeah. Just push on the outside here. These guys here, you push down on that from the other side and it pushes right on through. So now this can kind of sit flat like that, and don't lose your screws. Keep all your screws kind of organized. I imagine I'll have a handful after I get done pulling this dash out. Alright, passenger side again. I've got 2 bolts here, and then there's a bolt down here. So the still 3 bolts, just in a little bit different place. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these. All right, 3 bolts. Okay, so again, you got 1 down here and then 2 up here, and you can see this thing's like notched in here somehow. Not even loose at this point. A little bit looser. You probably have a rattle, but you could still drive if you didn't disconnect all your electronics. So let's go on to the next thing. Let's see what we got. All right, so the next thing I'm going to pull out is this little trim piece down here. Apparently there's some bolts behind there, hook that we want to get out, and this thing apparently just pops out. Oh, yeah, it pops out pretty easily. It gets thin at the bottom, so let's not break that. It'd be easy to snap this thing in half, I think. I haven't got it out yet, so let's hope. Seems to come out easier if you get it from the sides. And just lost a little clip here. It looks like that'll just clip back on. So yeah, I see there's a couple bolts under here. Push the carpet down. Looks like maybe a 10 millimeter there, and then over on this side as well, I got a little bolt on the other side with the washer. So we'll pull those. But yeah, so this piece just pops out pretty easily. All right, so I'm just going for these bolts down in here, down below. They're kind of, the carpet kind of pushes up, at least in my truck. So I got those two guys out. Just down here. Yeah, this carpet's just the biggest pain in the ass pulling those things out. It's just gotta pull that carpet back a little bit to be able to get those screws off or push it down. Or I guess pull it out all the way, maybe. So, all right, onward and upward. Next thing, remember to keep your screws organized, like me. Just like kind of put them here and then knock them over and into the street. All right, so now I'm going to take these columns off. Got to get underneath these. There's a couple bolts under here. So yeah, just be careful. Try not to mar them up too bad. I got a little flat head. It's probably going to mar it up a little bit. Oh, maybe not. Look at that. It has like a tie on one side that holds it on. So the bottom side, or the middle maybe. Let's see. Probably this one. Get it from the middle, and it's gonna pop right out. Yep. And didn't even mar it up, really. Look at that. That's beautiful. So yeah, when you attack these things, a little screwdriver inside, bing bing, pop pop, and it looks like there's maybe oh no, maybe that's a 10 millimeter. Let me see. You got a 10 mil right over here. No, maybe that's like an 8. Oh, nope, that is a 10. Yeah, so a little 10 millimeter bolts in there that we're gonna pull out. So, we've got that on both passenger side and then on the driver's side. So we'll go ahead and pull those out. Let's see, put a little extension on there, make it a little easier to get at. Second one, then see, it wants to come out. Let's see. Can we just pull that thing? Ah, yank it out. All right, so it's got like a big slot thing that just snaps in, just pulls right out, and some sort of looks like I don't know what that is. Airbag thing or something? I don't know. Maybe that's the airbag. I didn't know it had a side airbag, but apparently it does. So that's like pops out. So don't mess with that. Don't touch it. All right. So SLT has side airbags. Cool. Yeah. So do the other side too. That's the passenger side. We'll go ahead and do the driver's side as well. Alright, then again, this side, just pull that thing out. Don't mess with the airbag. Yeah. So it gives us nice access. So next I'm going to go after these caps up here. Apparently there's a 10 millimeter underneath them. And, what's this? What do we got here? Oh, a knife. Cool. Just in case you want to butter some bread. Yeah, pull all the cutlery out from underneath there, and then you should just be able to pop these little caps here. Whatever you do working around the window, just don't crack the window. I'll try to heed my own advice. That would probably be the most expensive part of the job, right? So I'm gonna try to get in here. It's hard to get in here because it's like the angle. Just to pull this cap is hard. So I imagine getting the bolt out is going to be even more fun. There we go. I wired it up a little bit, and then the bolt's in there. Luckily, the bolt looks like it's like angled, so it's not straight down. So I should just be able to maybe use an extension on that and pull that out carefully without doing any damage. So I'm going to go ahead and do the driver's side now. So I'm going to go in there with got a little extension with a 10-inch, and let's see, it goes on there like that. Gives me a little bit of room, maybe. Yeah, so that's enough to loosen it. Just take my time with this. Again, what I don't want to do is smack that window. Seemed like a long bolt. It's not. It's just a standard, like what we've been pulling out already. So get that on there. It's in there. Let's see if I can get it out. Yep. So again, another little screw. Go ahead and organize it so you don't lose it, know where it goes. All that good stuff. So yeah, it's coming. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. So we got those two bolts out. Make sure you're in park. And we're gonna want to get this emergency brake lever disconnected. So you'll see under here there's this rod and then this white thing. We need to disconnect the rod. And how we do that, I think we just pull this white thing down. It like snaps onto that rod and then pulls down. I should be able to like push that. Not super easy. Yep. All right, so I was able to push this in and then push down on the white clip with the screwdriver and get the white clip off. And then once that white clip comes down, I think this rod like pulls out of this thing. Yeah. So it's like a hook. So you see the rod is like angled and it just goes into this hole here, and then this thing snaps onto it, this white clip. So I was able to push this white clip off by pushing a screwdriver through that little hole there when you pull it. So just when you do that, just don't have your hand here so the screwdriver doesn't like jam into your hand. I always try to prevent cuts when doing this type of stuff. So there we go, we got that. And again, make sure you're in park or not on a hill or something, because now your emergency brake's not on. You don't want your truck to go rolling away. So next step, huh? All right, so I got a couple other harnesses that I need to disconnect down in here. One, the brake. So there's like this connection here. I don't know really how this comes off yet. And then this big harness here goes up into the dash here. And so it looks like this has like a handle that pulls out. And something fell. This little piece of plastic looks like it just broke off. But that pulls out and then comes off, and I'm not sure what broke. Doesn't look too important. Doesn't look like anything that holds this together. So yeah, so I got that off. I'll save this just in case I need to super glue it on. Not like it would really do anything. And now I need to get this brake thing off, because this goes up into the dash, I think. Maybe not. Let's see, where does that actually go? It's going back here. It's got a pretty long cord, but yeah, it looks like it goes back into the dash. So let's see, it looks like I can, does that come off like this? There it goes. You just pull, there's a little button there, you push and it pulls right out. So pretty easy. So it broke off on that one, and we got the brake, and then this big ass harness here came out, and that thing has like one of those like just big honking handles that you pull out. And in my case, something broke when I pulled it out, but hopefully it wasn't needed or necessary. So a couple more connectors in here. Looks like I might need to take off. So this appears to be connected to where the steering column is. Goes over this way, and then this connector here, maybe. Let's see. Son of a bitch. So let me try to get two hands on that. This comes up here. Looks like this one and this one is like part of the dash. It's going to come with the dash, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. This one though comes under this cutout here. It looks like, yep, pull that, and this one goes up in there. I don't see how that comes out. Let's see, got this cable that was under here. This looks like it comes off with the dash. This is coming to the ignition here. That cable, what about this one here? That looks like it stays with the steering column. Let me see if I can get this off. That looks like it's brake. This was the gas over here. Is this twist? Oh, look at that. It just twists right off, the whole thing. And that's like the button, right? So that will just twist right back on. So I don't see any other cables under the steering column that need to be disconnected. Not sure what this is here. This is probably the shifter. I'm not thinking that needs to come off, but we'll see. Alright, so time to drop the steering column. I believe that we just need to remove those 4 nuts and then just drop it down. So I think that's it. I think that's all we have to do for that. So let's give it a shot. Let's see what we can do. Move this out of the way, give it a place to go. And so that's just gonna come down and lay on the floor, I think. Seat's all the way back. So let's see. So I got a long 13 millimeter. I think these are 13 millimeter. They are. Oh, shit, where'd that go? Let me find where that just fell to. There's not much in here for it to hang up on. There it is. All right. So yeah, these are 13. So you got one here, one here. I don't know if you can even see this stuff. Yeah, let me get my flashlight here. It's hard to see up under there. So, all right. So you've got one right here. One over here. Back here, you've got a bolt with a nut on it, and then on this side. So you got four nuts you're taking out of there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and hopefully this thing will just come down easily. Right, let's see, let's get this off. All right, and then this thing is just gonna slide on down. Well, there it comes. And so we do have this here. Let's see what's going on with this. This is going to need to come down with it. So I did snap this out. This was like connected on here. So just so that wire will come with the steering. And what do we got here? What's going on? All right, so down that comes. All right, so we've pulled that out. Steering column is touching but resting on the floor, and it was just four of these nuts holding that up, right, through here, and then 1, 2, and then I think there was 3, 4. So, oh no, 1, 2, and then 3, 4. So I got those, got this down. Now apparently there is 2 bolts that we need to remove from back here. Let me flash that light so that it's a little bit brighter back here. Bolts behind there. So part of the reason was we need to get this out of the way so we can pull the dash forward. But the other reason we had to pull it out is there's 2 bolts, one here, that are attached to the dash. This apparently stays still, but the dash slides out on this. So we need to remove these 2 bolts. And let's see if those look like they are maybe 10 millimeter instead of the 13 that we've been. Yeah, those are gonna be 10 millimeter. So let me get that set up. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these, and I think these are the last bolts that I need to remove the dash. So really not that bad, not that bad at all. I mean, even watching stuff online and reading all the threads, it really seemed like it was more than that. I don't know. It takes a little time, but I'm slow, and I'm just kind of, it's a cold day, going out and go back in, warm up, get something to eat, drink, come back out. So if I had a garage or a nice warm space, this would go a lot faster. All right, so your bolts are gonna look something like that, 10 millimeter. And again, they're right behind these studs, the front studs that the steering column bolts to. You can just loosen them up and then pull them out with your hand. It's gonna be nice when I put this together. I'm gonna take a shop vac and a rag and just clean in here. There's just tons of dust in every little nook and cranny back here. So it'd be nice to just clean it all, get all this gunk out of here. I don't know. It's always good to start fresh. So another screw, and now that dash should be. Whoa! Did you see that? It's coming out. Look. Whoa! So it doesn't appear to be attached right now on this side. The driver's side just pulls right out, right? So what we're gonna do is remove some of these trim pieces here, make room for the dash to come and rest up here, and just bring it forward, and you have to lift up apparently on the passenger side. So I'm going to lift up on the passenger side and bring this whole thing forward, rest it up along here. My upholstery is shot, the cigarette holes and all kinds of stuff, so I'm not too concerned about like this stuff's pretty, not too concerned about it tearing anything up or leaving impressions. But if you have like leather or whatever, you might want to do that. All right, so so apparently on this side I pick things up and pull this thing out, and so hopefully I've got everything I need at this point. Something's hanging up over there. All this looks to be removed here, but it appears that this side is getting hung up on the door, on the driver's side is getting jammed into the door as I try to pick this up. So I think I need to open that door, have both doors open as I pull this up, and it'll just slide out. Which I'm working in the street. When this door's open, I have cars going by, so that'll be interesting. See if I can actually, well, I'm just gonna slip this box out and then get things back into place. Once I get this out, I can probably shift this way towards the passenger side and close my driver's side door. Anyway, so we'll see. For any of you street mechanics that don't have a driveway and off-street parking, yeah. So let's see if we can get this thing off. One more try here. Alright, so I'm just going to pull, this thing's already kind of pulled off. So pull that off a little bit there. And I'm noticing, oh, nope, that's free. Just trying to look, see, make sure I got everything here. I don't see anything that's, make sure I get this cable. So the brake, the emergency brake, I had disconnected, but it was still holding on in there. So that might have even been what my problem was. That might have been why this didn't want to let go, because it's already pulled away a little bit. All right, second try. Let's see here. I don't want this whole thing just to... Oh, there we go. And so here it comes forward. And it's pulled forward, all right? The whole dash comes forward. No cables. No cables. There's the air box. Here's the outside damper. And so the next thing we're gonna have to do is pull this thing out, which is going to require disconnecting from the engine compartment the AC lines and the heater core lines. So yeah, that'll be cool. Let's see. It seemed to catch on something. There seemed to be something that caught, and I hope that it wasn't a line or something that I didn't account for. Everything appears good up here. I don't see where anything like broke free, which is good. That's there. Yeah, I don't see any like snapped cables, which is awesome. So we got that done. All right, so now with that, with the dash off, the dash pulled back, we have to get this box out, right? And so the bolts inside that we have to do to get the box out, we have three. We have two nuts. We got a nut right in here that you can see, that silver guy. We have a nut over here on the top, and then down here we have a bolt. I think they're all 10 millimeter, and they all need to come out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. All right, let's see here. I think this dash will actually pull back a little bit more, but let's see. I might have enough room to just get in here, squeeze in. It's a little heavy, awkward, as you would imagine. Right. Let's see if I can get this out. Right, so that's the 3 bolts on this. Now we need to detach it from on the engine compartment side. All right, so the main reason I'm doing this is my evaporator, AC evaporator went out and leaked on me. So it all leaked out into the cab. So my lines, I verified my lines are empty. I have no pressure, no freon in there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the AC lines and pull that out. I'm going to shove something in those 2 lines to make sure no bugs crawl up in there. And then I'm going to take off the 2 heater core lines, which come up underneath. You see the AC line set there, and then the heater core lines go up over there, right? So I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm gonna get those off, and then apparently there's 2 bolts under here that I need to take off. And I believe one is like down here. I don't know if you can see. Down below, like the heater, the expansion valve. One's down there, and then I don't know. I'm hoping it's like up here, maybe like this thing. That looks like it might be a connection into there. I know there's 2. I'm hoping it's not behind this big module here, whatever this module is. But we shall see. So I'm just gonna go for it. Start pulling stuff out. little bolt. It's not that tight. I think there's some O-rings on there that holds that all together. So then this comes off, and I believe this for low pressure comes off. Yeah, that loosens up too. So let's see, let's pull those off, and then I'll shove some paper towel in there. The low pressure line is not as flexible as the high pressure line, but it just pops out of there. It's an O-ring on that thing, but I can't push that, all out of the way like I can this high pressure line, low pressure line. So low pressure lines, big fat one here. Again, I'm just shoving some paper towel in there to keep the stuff from falling in there. And then the low pressure line, I probably can't even really push anything into that. It's down here. And that just pulls out. I'll just let that be loose in there. That'll just fall out when I pull this thing. I pull it out, and the expansion valve there is just going to go with the box, I believe. So now it's just a matter of finding the other bolts, which on mine I believe one of them is holding these. Oh well, I also need to get the heater, the coolant lines off of there. So it's still not wanting to come off, and there, as I said, there's two bolts. One being this one here, which has these water lines, which I still haven't gotten off yet. The clamps are really buried up in here. But there's this little, I don't know if you can see it better through here. You see my finger, what it's pointing to right here? It's just this clip. And this clip is on a post that has a nut, I believe, on the back side of it. So I need to get the clip unclipped. Can I do it with my fingernail? No, I cannot. I need to unclip this clip here. It's holding these hoses, and then take the mount off, and then take the nut off, I do believe. I don't know if you can see any of this. Here, I'm going to try to just pop that clip with a little screwdriver here. So, oh, there it goes. Yep, it's easy to pop off. Screwdriver. So now that I got that off, should be able to move these hoses out of the way. So, maybe not. So the idea is I need to get these hoses out of the way, take the hoses off, ideally, push them down, and then get this loosened up on here on this post. It's a threaded post underneath that. So, I don't know if you can see this bolt down here, right like there. So there was a little clamp holding the coolant lines on that. So you have to unclip the coolant lines first. You get a screwdriver up underneath this thing and pop that off. It's hard to get off. First off, even with this little screwdriver, you get that off, and then this thing, even though it's threaded, it's got some threads in there. I was able just to rip it off because there's no way to unthread it. It knocks up against this stuff here. All right. So with the flashlight, so there's that one, and then back in here again, I don't know if you can see it, but behind this control module, there is another nut with a post. It looks like it's gonna be kind of a pain in the butt to get at, but I think I need to get those two off before this box will come out. The box moves a little, but you can still see it's definitely affixed. It has some move downward, but only to a certain point. and then down here you can feel it's locked in. So I got at least one more bolt in there. The hardest screw was that one down there. You can see that shiny nut. It's like stuck in the firewall material. That thing was a pain in the butt to get off, but it's off. And now this whole thing appears to be loose, and it's just a matter of pulling it out. I still have the hoses on here, but I might be able to actually access them a little easier from this side, maybe. So I don't know, maybe I'll push them back in. One thing I'm noticing as I'm pulling this out and then trying to push it back in is it's going to be a bear to line up posts and stuff to get this thing, you know, pushed back in after I pull it all out. But yeah, we'll see. It's part of the challenge, right? All right, so at this point the box is loose. It's pretty loose. I still have my hoses on, my coolant hoses, heater hoses, fluid hoses, and then it connects down here to floor heat for the back, because this is a crew cab. So I'm thinking that it looks like it just snaps on, and I don't want to have to like pull that out. So I'm thinking that this thing will rotate out and I'll be able to pull that out. It doesn't look like it goes in too deep. It looks like it's just kind of, I don't see any screws. So that should just pop right out, I'm hoping. We'll see how that goes. Get a good view of that. So this is where the floor vent goes. I think I can just pull that right off. So right now I'm going to go ahead and try to get these clips off from the inside, because I was having a little problem getting them from the outside. The firewall was a little thick there, protruded out. So yep, I'm just going to try to do that and then pull this box out, take it apart. So with a little bit of effort, I was able to get those hoses off from the inside. So I was able to get the clamps off fairly easy from the inside and push them out through the firewall, but then I couldn't pull them off. It was almost like they were acting like a Chinese finger puzzle. If you've seen one of those, the more you pull, the tighter they get. And so I just put some screwdrivers, flatheads, in there and just pushed it off, and they were really kind of almost glued on there. You could tell once they just kind of opened up and popped, they slid right off. Gurgled a little bit, so I imagine there's still some coolant in here, but so far no leaks onto the floor. So now I'm just going to pull this beast out of here and replace the parts. Alright guys, so I think it's ready to come out now. I don't think I have anything holding this thing in. So here goes. Let's see. So I got something's holding up. So I see that, and then it like is held up. What's holding this thing in here? Oh, the box down here. First off, the vent. It feels like maybe that's all that's holding this thing in. Alright, so I was able to get the air vents out. So what I did is this piece here was connected with 3 bolts in here, right? So I took that out, and then I just pried this off of here, and I was able to wiggle the box out. Now I might have banged these up a little bit on the sides, but it popped out and snapped out, and so now I'm at the point now where I believe I can just pull this whole box out. It's off of the studs, and here it comes. It's not even all that heavy. It's really kind of light. And there we go. Alright, so this is the circulator ventilation box, right? So these are the little vent or the door changers. You got the outside air comes in here. Your expansion valve for the AC, and then your heater cord lines. All right, so I'm going to try to first take out this this condenser and or evaporator, I guess it is. It's an evaporator. AC. Looks like I've got a screw below. I got a screw down here. I got a screw here. I've got some clips that I need to snap off, and then a screw here. Some more clips. Clips down below, and it looks like maybe that's it. So 1, 2, 3 screws perhaps. Let's see how that goes. This has a clip for that, so I took that off. This whole thing's gonna just come apart, and I don't know exactly what I have to have apart. There we go. So that comes off. And then we have very dirty exchanger, condenser, evaporator. I think it's called an evaporator. So yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to take those clips. So there's some metal clips on here that I'm gonna have to get on here. On there, and then one here, and then one here. So 3 clips. So the hardest part about those, it looks like it's going to be putting them back on, perhaps. But I don't know. Let me go grab a screwdriver. All right. So now to try to get these clips off. So I got one here. Let's see. I'm just gonna. Whoa! Oh, how easy is that? You just pry that thing right off. Kind of go in there like this with the screwdriver, and bink, comes right out. It's probably going to go in pretty easy too. Let's see if I just push it. Yeah, just push it right down in. Don't clip yourself with the screwdriver. And yeah, so no problem with these clips. They just pop right out. They're actually easier because you don't have to worry about breaking them. So I got 1, 2, and as I move this thing right carefully, whoa! I got some more coolant coming out, and I got 3 clips. 3 clips. So now this thing should spread apart for me. Get up so I'm not sitting in coolant. Turn this thing around like this. And let's see what's left. A couple clips maybe. Yep. Alright, and so that comes apart. Alright, and so that gives me my AC evaporator, condenser, whatever this thing's called. Gives me access to it. I should just be able to pull this out at this point and slide in my new one. Clean things out in here. Yep. So that comes right out. It's got a gasket all the way around it. Very dirty on that side. Intake. And then not so dirty on this side. So, alright. So that's pretty easy. Alright guys, so I pulled out the AC evaporator, and now it's time to get this heater core out, right? So there's a couple screws, 2 screws to be precise, right here and right here. And after you get that, there's two clips on the other side, but then this comes off, right? So these are the two clips. Once that comes out, this thing just slides right out. This is like the easiest thing, easiest part of the whole job. Wouldn't it be nice if the whole job was just like this? Just remove two screws, remove the whole box. That'd be pretty awesome. So this is the heater core. So from here, it should just be a matter of putting it back together, right? So I'm gonna put in the heater core. I'm gonna put in the new evaporator, AC evaporator, and I have got a new expansion valve that I'm gonna put on that, just in case there was some leakage going on there. And put it all back together, put it in the truck. I'm gonna charge the AC system with some oil and some Freon, and then I'm going to charge or fill the coolant system. Hopefully everything just works. Plug all the things back together. Got a brand new truck. Maybe. That's the plan anyway. So I got the dash back in. It's basically just a reversal of the way I took it out, right? Makes sense. It's a super easy job. I mean, I'm really not that skilled. I just did it out in the street here. You talk to the guys at the shop and they're like, oh, you have to remove the whole dash, and that's like 2 days job. Wow, it was fairly enough. It was 2 days for me. But now that I've done it, you know, half a day probably, it's not really that big of a task. When the things that did trip me up, it was pretty easy getting everything back in. But the things that tripped me up, so I have the crew cab, the extra big cab, and it has vents. It's got 3 different tubes that attach, and getting the air box off of those vents was all right. There was like a couple screws that you had to unscrew to get this part, the one that goes straight back, and then the 2 sides just kind of unsnapped. But then when you actually try to get the box back in, that's when it gets tricky, right? So I was able to get it all but 2, and the one on the side, the driver's side, it kind of went on, but it didn't really snap on, right? So it's like kind of bent and warped. But you know, I'm not really that concerned if my passenger's feet on the driver's side of the cab aren't warm. You know, it didn't really push out that much heat. Most of it was blocked by the mats back there anyway. So I had that issue, and then the other only issue, well no, so I had 3 issues. I had that issue, and then getting the coolant lines hooked up to the heater core was kind of a task, because it was very tight in there. You got the firewall and stuff on the inside. You have to like crawl into the engine compartment and get your hand up there. You can't see. And then on trying to put it in and then connect it, there's only so much space there to work with, and you have to line up your bolts to get that air box back on. So what I ended up doing is I just I snipped the two hoses for the coolant lines, and then I was going to attach a flush line to one of them anyway, so I just bought 2 little flush kits. I think they're like $3 at Walmart, and I just attached those as couplings, and that allowed me to connect them before I put the heat, or before I put that big HVAC box back in, right? And then just feed the hoses through. So the only other thing that got me and really scared me, freaked me out, was when I got it all back together and put the key in to turn the key on, the gauges were just like freaking out. My blinker was blinking, even though I didn't have my blinker on. High beams wouldn't come on. The dash didn't work. And I was like, oh shit, because I was pretty confident I had connected everything. And so I went under the hood, I checked all the fuses, I didn't blow any fuses. So I went through the connections again. I went through the connections on the driver's side, because there's all these connections up underneath here and stuff. I figured maybe when I pulled it out, there was a couple that weren't super, that I didn't disconnect, and they were kind of tight. I thought maybe they loosened up or something. Tried all those, still no go. Went to the passenger side, and I had a connection that it was snapped in, but it wasn't fully engaged. It was like one of those little clasps where you gotta like pull it over, and it wasn't pulled over all the way. And so I snapped that in, fixed all my problems. So if you have problems with your dash at all, after you get things together, just go ahead and retry all your connections. That's probably all it is. And fortunately, most of them are very accessible. You know, I had the dash on, and I was like, oh man, I got to take this whole dash off again. And no, you know, it works. You just pull out a couple panels, and there's the connections. So my heat works. My heat works great. I haven't checked my AC yet. I pulled a vacuum on the AC, and it's holding the vacuum, right? So I still need to charge my AC. I haven't done that yet, but I don't have a leak in there. I'm confident I don't have a leak, which is good. So I will get that charged. The only other thing that I had issues with were sometimes at certain settings, the air just doesn't feel like it's coming out fast enough. Like the fan's blowing, you can tell there's a lot of air circulating, but it's just not coming out the right vents. And I think I've got an actuator that I need to replace, which I can access the one that I think is the problem without taking the dash off. But now that I've taken the dash off, you know, I might just pull the whole dash and replace all the actuators, just so I know that I've got those fixed, because it's really not that big of an issue. Okay, so you can see where this is the side of the engine where, you know, you got your AC lines going in. I need to put my cap back on. It's around here somewhere. But then down here, I went ahead and just cut those two lines, the coolant lines, and put flush tees in there. And that allowed me to just connect the hoses to the heater core before I actually reinstalled it. So it made it a lot easier. So hopefully that helps. And if you have any questions or you're running any problems, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Bye.